Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today I'm going to go over a very beginner tutorial to Vanduul Swarm. How one can beat that, the basics using just a starter ship, and just some tips and tricks on the buttons that I press, what my strategy is behind that, and how I'm going about beating that with the times that I do and in some basic ships. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Vanduul Swarm here. We're going to use the Broken Moon map as that one is the easiest as far as visibility goes. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Aegis Avenger Titan. I'm going to go ahead and get into ship customization here because I have changed a few things with some of my wrecks. So I've gotten the FR66 shield generators, which are some of the better ones in here, as well as the JS300 power plant, and I have swapped my weapons to repeaters. So I've got attrition 3 repeaters for the left and right wings and attrition 4 repeaters for the nose here, and that's just so that I don't run out of ammunition at any time while I am flying and don't have to run through the power-ups to get back to full combat ability. So having done that, we're going to go ahead and launch into the game. And I'm going to go over the different controls that I'm using and some of the tips and tricks of how to do this. So before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and pause this and we'll go over some of the controls. So first of all, a couple of the more important controls are going to be your F5, F6, and F7 keys on your keyboard. Or if you've rebound those to any other controller that you use, you're going to want to keep those handy and available. I'm using twin Gladiator VKB joysticks, and so I've got mine bound to the hat switches. The F5, F6, and F7 buttons control the power prioritization for your shields, weapons, and engine. And we'll go ahead and take a look down here so I can pull those up. Let's see here, power, there we go. And you'll be able to see those moving around down there as I target things and start swapping my priority around. The other thing that I recommend you doing is setting keybinds for your target selection. So that you can quickly and easily swap targets on the fly without having to take your hands off of the controls. These can be done using the 1, 2, and 3 buttons on your keyboard, or you can use them for any of the other ones that are easily accessible. But you want to be able to swap targets and power to your shield and weapons effectively and easily without taking your hands off of your navigation keys. So, as you can see, basically locking on to your target, lining up your shot, and getting bullets downrange is your most effective way of surviving. Obviously the Titan is not super maneuverable, so whatever you can do to help increase that maneuverability will greatly increase, number one, your survivability, because you can get those shots on target and get your targets dead before they can gun you down. And it'll also help because the less fire that you take, the longer your ship will survive. So if you're first starting out, I would recommend that you focus on putting your power into shields, which you can see by hitting the F7 key or holding the F7 key. That'll put your power into shields, and that will help your ship to be a little bit more survivable. And help it not to explode quite so readily, as you do get a a shield bonus by having your power priority in your shields. Now I am swapping backwards and forwards here because I want my shields to be able to recharge, and then I also want to be able to swap back to my weapons. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my shields here. And then swap around to weapons so those can recharge. There we go. Get this guy next. Trying to stay maneuverable here. There we go. So that we don't get shot and killed by that guy. Another tip for survivability is whenever you see one of these repair wrenches, go and get that. It makes all the difference in the world. If you can repair between kills and bring your health back up to full. So swapping your shields and weapons are going to be top priority, as well as making sure to get each of those repair wrenches. As you see them spawn, you definitely want to get those. Also, when you're being targeted by a missile, make sure you're dropping your noise or chaff, decoys, so that you're not taking that missile fire. As especially in your lighter ships, it will wreck you very, very quickly. As you can see, I'm swapping targets here. And I can do that rather quickly because I've got my targeting bound to a hat switch on my joystick. But you definitely want to reset that. If you're using mouse and keyboard, you want to set that up to something that you can access easily from your default position. So we've gotten to level 4 here, or through wave 4, just about to hit wave 5. And this is really where it starts to get a little bit harder. So at this point, you want to start to thin out the herd a little bit, which means picking those targets that are a little ways out from the other targets, using your radar to pick out the targets that are a little farther away, and then picking them off without letting the other ones get too close to you. There we go. So we've gotten that one. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little bit of my boost into there just so that we don't run into the laser there, because that will annihilate you very, very quickly. I'm going to stay away from the other ships here, or try to at least, and not get too close to them. There we go. We've got one of them up here, and we do have one on our tail. So we're going to want to stay more maneuverable here and not let him land a bunch of hits on us. And we're going to have to brake on this one. So I'm going to throw all of my power over into shields. There we go. And then swap back to weapons. There we go. I'm going to stay maneuverable so that we're not taking hits here. And if you need to, you can always throw yourself into reverse and get a little bit more room so that you have time to recover those shields and get those back up before you re-engage the next wave of enemies, or even the next enemy. There's no shame in running away a little bit, getting your separation distance. and getting those shields and weapons recharged before you engage the next ship. Go ahead and drop a decoy there so that we don't get hit by that missile. That wouldn't be good. There we go. So we've got another respawn there. That helps tremendously. I'm going to go ahead and throw my power back into my engines here so that I can recharge my boost. You can do that by hitting the F5 key on your keyboard. And that's going to go ahead and throw those back in. I'm going to recharge my weapons by hitting F7. Oh no, sorry, that'll be F5. And then I'm going to swap back to shields by holding the F7 button. Now I've got a target that's a little ways separated from the other ones over here. So I'm going to go ahead and go down there and get him. And we're going to basically thin him out and take him out of the picture before any of the other ships get down to me. There we go, perfect. I'm going to throw the power back into weapons to get those recharged. And then we'll go back into shields here. Now this guy's about 5 kilometers away, so I'm going to zoom up to him. Drop noise there or decoy so that we don't have to deal with that weapon or missile. And then we're just going to line up on this guy and load him full of shots. Whoop! Almost hit him there. That wouldn't have been good. There we go. We basically just want to line him up. This guy's coming in really hot. And he's really close, so we're just going to go ahead and take advantage of that. Dump those so that we don't have to worry about the missiles coming up behind us. Whoop. Throw a little bit of upthrust in so that we don't smack into that wreckage there. And we can chase this guy down because he's close and we can get him pretty readily. Turn around and get this guy. Where's he at? Go. I'm going to try and roll a little bit to evade these shots while trying to make sure that we put bullets onto this guy. If you can stay out of the way of the front of them, that goes a long way in helping to stay out of those bullets. So a little bit of roll, a little bit of upstrafe can help. Just to stay out of the way of those bullets. There we go. Once again, get your repair. There we go, perfect. Throw my power back over into weapons there using the F5 key. And then back into shields using F7. Charge up the engines here with F5. And then back into shields with F7. And that's really one of the biggest tricks, is just learning power swapping and prioritization, when to swap. You definitely want to do that as soon as your magazine is exhausted, because you don't want to be too long without weapons. But then as soon as those are charged up again, you want to swap back to shields, because an unshielded ship is a dead ship. There we go, perfect. Swap over to weapons to recharge again. And then back to shields. Swap to this guy, he's a little closer here. There we go, perfect. And then we'll swap back to this guy as he's gotten really close. There we go, perfect. We'll get him. Swap back to my shields here. There we go. Good, we've got them. And we'll go ahead and target this last guy. Accelerate onto him. Swap power back over to shields because our guns are fully charged. We'll go ahead and line this up. Whoop. Coming in a little bit too hot there, so try and accelerate back onto him. There we go, perfect. We've got him taken out. So once again, power over to weapons, then cycle back to shields. There we go, we'll go ahead and hit that repair as well, just to make sure that we're fully repaired. And here we go. So this is going to be round 8. There's going to be plenty of hostiles. So we're going to want to see if we can get some of the ones that are a little bit farther away from the herd, so that we don't get sandwiched between them. Especially as a new player, that's critical. Don't get yourself in the middle of them. If it takes you a little bit longer and you have to weave around a little bit, that's fine. Because the aim of the game here is to survive to the end and get all of them knocked out. That's when you get the big wreck rewards. And then when you can then turn that into a nicer ship. Oh, goodness. Oh. Yeah, so, see, I've done exactly what you're not supposed to do here. I've ended up in the middle of the sandwich, and you don't want to be there. Goodness, alright, got him. Swap back to weapons. Then back to shields, once those are recharged. There we go, just load this guy full of shots. There we go, perfect. Swap back and fill our weapons. Back to shields. Especially when you get into these higher tier enemies, you want to stay out of the way of their cannons because they are extremely deadly. You do not want to get hit by those. Go, perfect. Swap back to weapons. And then to shields as soon as they're recharged. There we go, perfect. Back to shields. Dump a flare there to keep that guy from hitting us with missiles. Another one there. Anytime you can, you want to turn on the 45. So that'd be using your pitch and your yaw at the same time. I'm taking a little bit of shield fire there. So I'm going to go ahead and... Oop, goodness. Alright, so we're taking quite a bit of shield damage here. So I'm going to go ahead and get out. Swap power over to my shields here to get them regenerating. And there we go. We're back to full. We've gotten some distance away from the baddies here. We're going to swap power back over into our engine to get our cruise or boost power back up. And then there we go, back into shields. And we can just cycle between power to our boost or engines, weapons, shields. There we go. This guy's quite intent on hitting me. There we go. So we'll go ahead and throw power back into shields, just to give us that extra layer of protection. Whoop, I'm taking a few hits there, but because we've got our shields fully charged, we're doing good there. We're not dying from those. Power back into shields again, or into weapons, sorry, to recharge, and then back into shields. Perfect. Okay, so we've made it 8 waves. We've got one more here to the completion. 17 minutes and change, so definitely not my best time. But we're more concerned with proving survivability and demoing how to do that and make it all the way to the end. Go ahead and take this guy out as he's a little bit separated as well. A little bit far away here. You'll notice I'm not using any of the missiles. You can do that if you wish to. But I generally find them to be not super effective anyway. And so I just tend to prefer using my projectile weapons. Where's this guy going? There he is, perfect. Whoop. Oh goodness, he went by really quick. Alright, so we're going to turn around then, and there's another guy. There we go, right there. We're not going to bother chasing the one. Whoop, here we go. This one's really close, perfect. We'll go ahead and light him up. There we go, he's going away from us. We'll target this guy now, he's a little bit farther away. There we go, perfect. Swap back into shields to make sure those are fully regenerated. Weapons to make sure those are full as well. I'm going to swap back to the closest one. And we'll come back and get him. So once again, survivability. You do not want to end up in the middle. You want to be the guy zooming around the edges and picking off the stragglers. You'll notice I'm trying to stay out of the middle. Whoop, there we go. So this guy wants a piece of us. We'll target him as he's gotten really too close. There we go. We'll take him out. Power and shields. Weapons, perfect. We'll get him out. Power into shields again to recharge. There we go. And that's really the trick, is just swapping around your weapons. Whoop. Goodness, this guy's coming in really quick. There we go. Let's get him. He was in a bad spot there. There we go. Just got weapons recharged again. We'll accelerate onto this guy. Doing a little bit of that slow turn there. There we go. Shields are fully charged. Weapons, back to shields. There we go. We got one more guy over here. We'll go ahead and get him. And then that should wrap up. There we go. Alright. So we'll go ahead and throw power back over into shields again. For weapons to charge up. And then back to shields. And there we go. Vanduul Swarm completed. So just over 20 minutes, 21 minutes. And that's gotten me 53,000 rec. So that's a great way to test out other ships. Is once you've gotten that first match or two done with Arena Commander, Vanduul Swarm, you can then try out other things. I definitely recommend the Gladius, because that's kind of the top of the line, and is great for testing out really good combat techniques, and really pushing the envelope on things. So I hope this has been helpful. If you do have any further questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments down below, and I will see you all in the very next video. Take care, everyone. Ta-ta.